Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to a special Labor Day weekend edition of NoDQ&A video. Hope you're all having a fun and safe Labor Day. Got a lot of questions here from spring.me/Aaron Rift, so let's get right down to it. First one today comes from STate01. Hey Aaron, please answer in video. Do you think that Goldberg would make a return to WWE? If yes, how would you book it and who would you have him face if he were to be at WrestleMania 30? Well, let me start off by saying that I think it's a long shot that Goldberg ends up back in WWE and at WrestleMania 30. I could see WWE perhaps making an offer to him because it's WrestleMania 30, it's a milestone event, and they want to have some big stars from the past come back. But the thing is, in order for Goldberg to do a WrestleMania match, I really feel that the money's going to need to be right for him. And he's going to need that big marquee match. I don't see Goldberg coming back and doing a match with somebody like Ryback, for instance. I think that if WWE offered Goldberg a lot of money and a match with somebody like Undertaker, I think he would consider it. But I don't know if WWE is going to do that. I think that the fact Goldberg has been gone for so long now, he's been gone almost 10 years, he's been out of the limelight, I don't know if WWE would feel that it's worth paying him as much money as he would want to come back and do WrestleMania. So, things could work out. I mean, Bruno Sammartino came back and went into the Hall of Fame. So, anything's possible. But I would say that the chances are against it happening. All right, this one comes from Jeremiah Dorset. Hey Aaron, if TNA continues to draw ratings at 0.9, 1.0, 1.1, do you see TNA making major changes for 2014, and do you see a possible wholesale firing? Please answer in video for 348. Well, the ratings have been around 1.0, 1.1 for years now. I mean, TNA has basically been at the same level for 6-7 years now since they first got on Spike TV. I mean, they've had a few times where they've gone up a little bit, and then during the Monday Night War Part 2, there was a period when they were going under a 1.0. But, TNA is going to do whatever possible to stay in business. So, will there be more cuts in the future? Who knows? I mean, it's certainly a possibility, and, they're going to do whatever they need to do to keep themselves in business. But as long as Spike TV is happy with the 1.0, 1.1, which, it appears that they're satisfied with those ratings, TNA will be able to stay in business. It's Spike TV that is keeping TNA afloat. It's that deal where TNA has Impact Wrestling every Thursday night on prime time. If they lose that, as I mentioned before, they're in big trouble, and then that could be the final death blow if Spike TV decides to pull out. But, and sometimes Spike TV makes decisions about talent, this stuff with Tito Ortiz and Rampage Jackson. Obviously, that's a Spike TV thing. They want to cross-promote, and they want to build up that Bellator fight, so they want to have Rampage and Tito be involved with TNA and try to get as many people interested in that fight as possible. So, a lot of the decisions regarding who has a job and who doesn't, it's not just Dixie Carter's decision or TNA management, but also Spike TV, and they're the ones that are, providing the television for TNA. All right, next one comes from Brian0824. Hey Aaron, with WWE scoping larger stadiums for WrestleMania, why do you think they have yet to really push for a college football venue such as Michigan Stadium, Beaver Stadium, etc., which can easily hold 100,000? Well, I don't know a lot about those arenas, but you have to keep in mind, first of all, WWE wants to run WrestleMania in a major city. So, I mean, that's the first hurdle. The second hurdle is finding a city that will make the biggest bid. So, I mean, if one of these stadiums and the city that the stadium is in, if they're willing to make the right offer, I mean, WWE, I'm sure, would consider it. But yeah, I think WWE likes doing the WrestleManias in the big stadiums, the NFL stadiums, the ones that are the most recognizable in the largest markets and the biggest cities, and the cities that are willing to offer them the most. So I mean, they're just looking out from a financial standpoint what their best option is for WrestleMania each year. Alright, this one comes from Kayfabe Candy Ass. Please answer in video. I heard Ric Flair got some heat for all the talking he did at the WWE 2K14 event. What did you think of it? I thought he was entertaining. You know, I think that WWE perhaps overreacted a little bit. Now, you know, they're very much against any talent mentioning TNA, and Ric Flair took a dig at TNA. But the fact is, it did get people talking about the video game, and, you know, the 2K14 people didn't have any problem with it. So, you know, I think WWE should just let it go. But then again, you know, Ric Flair has to be careful about what he says. And if he's given specific orders, he should try to follow those orders and not go into business for himself, because, you know, WWE likes to have control of everything. And, you know, they want to be sure to have control over what the talent says. And if the talent starts going off and saying these random things, you know, WWE's not going to tolerate that. So, you know, Ric Flair, if he wants to have a job with WWE in the future, I mean, he's really got to be more careful. I mean, he can't really just go off and say whatever he wants. If they tell him there's certain things that are off limits, you know, he needs to abide by those rules. All right, this one comes from Miss VZ18. What are your thoughts on the AJ Styles promo from this week's Impact? I felt it was too scripted, as if TNA was trying to compete with CM Punk's pipe bomb, and his promo won't really lead to anything. Well, the idea was that, you know, AJ Styles would come out, cut this promo, and just be real with everybody, and it would make him, you know, this top babyface going into Bound for Glory. And at this point, I'm expecting it to be AJ Styles and Bully Ray for the title as the main event, which is one of the main events I was expecting for a while now. You know, there was all the speculation about Hogan, but realistically, I figured, you know, when they did that whole storyline where AJ could not compete for the title for an entire year, at that point I figured, okay, next year's Bound for Glory, it'll come full circle for him and he'll finally get the title. So, you know, this is something that's been a long time in the making, building AJ Styles up for Bound for Glory. As far as the result here, I don't think it was a huge success. The crowd certainly didn't react to it in a way I think TNA was hoping for. You know, they were doing the what chants, even some boring chants during this promo, and you know, the one time the crowd did pop, they were doing the Daniel Bryan yes chants. So yeah, it didn't really work out all that well. I thought AJ's delivery was okay, didn't blow me out of the water or anything. I didn't think it was all that great, but it was all right. And you know, I just think the lack of crowd reaction really hurt it, and you know, really made it come off as second rate. All right, this one comes from Colonel Nicholson. Hi, Aaron. In comparison to the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and SummerSlam, why does its Survivor Series feel special? Well, I think part of it is just the fact that the Survivor Series cards haven't really been all that memorable in recent years. I mean, to be honest, I can't think of a really good card where I thought that all the matches were at least good to great from top to bottom. I don't even remember most of the Survivor Series cards from the past 7-8 years. So that's a problem right there. You know, the one really significant Survivor Series in recent history was when The Rock came back, but WWE dropped the ball so badly in terms of promoting that pay-per-view, and the build-up was just terrible. And, you know, it should have been a much bigger deal than it was. You know, The Rock coming back, his first match, you know, 15 years from when he debuted at Madison Square Garden. And yeah, I just feel WWE failed to make that a huge deal. And so, I mean, it's that too. It's the fact that WWE hasn't really done a lot to build up Survivor Series and make it a special pay-per-view. And the fact of the matter is that you've had pay-per-views like Money in the Bank, and those pay-per-views have had some great matches and some key moments in WWE, like CM Punk versus John Cena in Chicago. So stuff like that has, you know, the fact that some of these other pay-per-views are more memorable, that has also hurt Survivor Series in recent years. All right, final question today comes from S. Norland. Hey Aaron, what do you make of the RVD and Ricardo partnership? Personally, it makes very little sense to me unless Ricardo would eventually turn on RVD and go back to Del Rio at Night of Champions. But isn't that too predictable? Well, in my personal opinion, I think that Ricardo should be back with Del Rio. I think that they work best as a duo. So I have no problem if Ricardo ends up turning on RVD. And at this point, you know, that's what it's looking like, that, you know, Ricardo is going to turn on him and go back with Del Rio. I think that's what should happen, even if it is predictable. I think that that's the way you need to go. And, you know, I'm not crazy about this storyline because, you know, Del Rio has been coming out and doing these promos talking about how he's the Mexican hero and all that. And, you know, a lot of people were expecting Rey Mysterio to come back and be the one to challenge Del Rio. And that would have made sense, and have Ricardo with Rey Mysterio. But, you know, Rey's almost ready but not quite ready yet. So they had RVD come out and be aligned with Ricardo. And it just seems like a mismatch. So, yeah, I mean, if it was me, I would have held off on this whole Del Rio storyline, being the Mexican hero, until Rey was ready to come back and you know, do that storyline. But you know, they're doing the thing with RVD right now, and you know, Rey will be back. He's scheduled to be back in September, so he should be back in the near future. So maybe after Night of Champions, they'll bring back Rey Mysterio and do that storyline. But yeah, I think that at this point, it's definitely best to have Ricardo and Del Rio back together as a duo. Alright, that'll do it for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQ&AW. Tell a friend on Facebook or Twitter or any other social networking site. And stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the very latest regarding Night of Champions. And I'll see you guys next time for more NoDQ&A video.